Tascam. Nah, I like saying Tascum. Tascum. Oh, who's gonna make fun of me in the comment section about the way I pronounce it? What it is, my good and beautiful peoples, ladies and gentlemen, we're gonna talk about how to set up your Tascam Model 24 to the MPCs of today. So that means that we're gonna talk about the modern day MPCs. They have the ability to connect an audio interface and use it as a DAC, okay? So with this one right here, the main reason why I'm using the MPC Live 3 is because it has a further ability, more specs and all that stuff, and it has the ability to do up to 24 tracks live versus all the older MPCs, which only have access to 8 tracks due to its limited specs on the older units. This will be helpful for everybody, and I want you guys to follow with me in this video because I saw the level of interest that y'all have. Stay tuned to the end because I have an announcement too. The first step is obvious, but I'm gonna say it. Make sure that you have your Tascam plugged up, and then you need to power it on. For this next step, you will need a USB to Type B male to USB to Type A male that will plug up to the back of the MPC. If you don't have one that is long enough, I'll have a link in the description box. That will be an affiliate link. You know, that's if you don't mind. We'll go ahead and plug it up to the back of the Tascam Model 24 so that we'll take the Type B and plug it up to the back of the Tascam 24. And then we'll take the Type A and plug it into the back of the MPC. For the next step, we'll go into a new project and then we'll go and press the menu button and then enter our preferences where we'll be able to set up our audio device. So go to the audio device tab. If you have successfully connected your Tascam or any of your audio interfaces to it, it will be recognized on this screen. You select it. Make sure that you have 32 inputs and outputs selected. For this next step, we're gonna go to the switches. Make sure that all your switches are on PC mode so you will have access to all of these channels. So do it for every channel that you have available. For this next step, we will go ahead and use the control room output, and we'll plug up the left to the left side and the right to the right side so we can hear audio from our MPC into our existing audio interface. If you don't have an audio interface, then you can use your headphones to be able to listen to your mix from your MPC. The next thing that we will do is turn up the volume in the control room right over here, and then we can turn up the headphones just in case you're using the headphones so you can hear what's coming out of your Tascam mixer. Last but not least, we're going to turn on every one of these faders so that we are able to hear everything in the main track of the Tascam Model 24 or any of the existing Tascams. So if you did everything right, all these main buttons right here will be set down and it will route everything to the main track. Now that we got all that stuff out of the way, let's talk about routing sound from your MPC Live 3 to your Tascam or your audio interface of choice. So there's 2 ways to do it. So the first way you can do it is go into your settings over here on this screen, the main screen, and then go into IO. So going into IO, you can set up your outputs. So let's go to our outputs and let's select output 1, and it will send it to output 1. If you've done everything correctly from this point on, all you have to do is just turn up the volume slightly on the track and adjust accordingly. And then you can hit on the pad and you can hear the kick. And it is beefy. You hear that? Nice. As a general rule of thumb, tracks number 1 through 12 are mono tracks. So you want to use those for mono sounds like drums, bass, and anything else, while tracks 13 all the way up to 21 and 22, they are your stereo tracks. So you want to use that for stereo stuff like samples, pianos, whatever the case may be. And you want to keep them as organized as possible. If we want to route everything from your drum pads into the mixer, well, you need to press this button right here, in which it will distinguish between each individual output. So for instance here, I want to go ahead and route this kick into the first output. So let's go to the first output here. Then we'll hit this pad, which will be the snare. I'll go ahead and route the snare to output number 2, and then I'll route the hi-hats to the third output, and so on. Remember, it's best to use any of your one-shot sounds unless you want to do something different with them. You want to make sure that they're in the mono tracks. So That's the most important thing that I can tell you, because you might run out of tracks if your tracks in your beat are a labyrinth. But let's say we want to route a plugin or anything like that. Let's see it in practice. You will not be able to route it per pad. It will take you to a track. You'll see that it will say audio output 1 and 2. Then you will probably use the actual stereo tracks for that, which is 13 and 14. So I'll put that plugin on track number 13 and 14. And then whatever else that I do melodically, I'll make sure it's on the stereo tracks. Now that you understand the basics behind routing a track, I will pull up a track so that you guys can get a prime example of how you can mix it. To show you I have control over this whole entire track here, what I'll do is slide up this fader so you can hear that the volume is giving me difference on the Tascam Model 24. And you see we have control, and I'll introduce different elements and slightly pull it up so it's not too much on the track here, but it sounds damn good, especially out of this. See, I pulled up the hi-hats in track number 6. Then I had the bass here. Let's go ahead and have just the bass playing. And we can control other things too as well. Like for an example here, as I do stuff live, don't mind me, I will control the bass itself just to give you a general idea how things can go. Ooh. And then you can hear I got control of the bass here. You'll hear a little bit of buzzing or whatnot. That's kind of normal with EQs or just mixtures in general. And I'm gonna make sure I get good use of that. Now I'll bring back the sample, which is on track number 1314. Remember, that is your stereo track. And we'll bring in other elements that you don't know that exist in the track so far. Like the pads. So you can get an idea of how this sounds. I'm gonna go ahead and move up the camera just a little bit here so you can see proof in the concept. You can zoom in a little bit. And let's get a good look at this, because I know that's what y'all here for. Gonna be mindful of the levels. Introduce the kick here. EQ. Let's get a different view here. I'm using the Osbotel 2 if you're wondering what camera I'm using. Very fun and camera to use, as it has its mind of its own because it's AI tracking. And now I can mute stuff. Y'all didn't know I was an R&B dude, huh? I know. It's my vibe. And you just want to be mindful. Let's go ahead and take away everything. I'm just playing with the mix so you can hear the context of everything that I'm doing. Let's see if we can add some compression. Compression is the green knob right here. I'm doing this live, F it. So y'all can see I'm adding compression in. Let's go ahead and zoom in a little bit on the compression. Let's see the mix here. Adding compression in. Bring the other tracks back in. cease. Let me know if you're enjoying the live mixing. But this is the power of the Tascam Model 24. Imagine if you had the 2400. Link in the description box. Now, I think a good tip that I can give you guys in terms of mixing or whatnot is that you should label your tracks so in future mixes, you know where you want to route stuff, and then you'll utilize the tracks about the same way. But I want to show you that I do have plans on doing a master class, because someone, and let me know in the comment section if you think I should do a master class on the Tascam Model 24. I think I should do that anyways, because the Tascam Model 24 and any of the other ones that I might get my hands on are they're not so complicated, but they have a lot to offer, and you know, recording in there digitally would solve that issue as well. And then you could just bring it into your DAW or back into the MPC that way via the SD card slot, because it does have an SD card slot. But yeah, other than that, I really like this Tascam Model 24. I really do, and I still want the 2400, but we'll see in the future.